Hi guys, I wanted to bring up the Freedom from Religion Foundation. Um, it's a nonprofit organization that fights for the rights of atheists. I've given them money in the past, and I find it, I don't really like where they've been headed. Maybe it's just because I'm a Trump supporter, but I feel like they've become more and more anti-Trump and his administration instead of being, anti-specific, um, very specific things, that like actual legislation and things like that. I mean, as atheists in the government, there are plenty of things to complain about um, on both the Democratic and Republican sides, both Trump and Hillary Clinton. I mean, they're both they've both run on being religious, so I find it interesting that almost all the emails I've gotten from them have been anti-Trump. Um, and, you know, this is, admittedly, I'm going more towards this is the election night, and then the other ones I have are from after the election. But, let's hit this email quick, and it basically just says, get out and vote. Um, we're a growing secular voting bloc of nuns. I don't really like this either. This is kind of, I feel, how black people have been oppressed to an extent where um, they've been convinced to all vote for the Democrats every election. Well, not all. It's 90 to 95% of blacks vote for the Democrats almost every election, and Democrats lose if they don't get at least 90%, and they need high voter turnout too. So Hillary lost because she got, I think, something like she got under 90%, and then she got just moderate turnout as well. So. Um, but anyways, it's like that's how it starts on election night. It's not too anti-Trump or anything, but it shows like if you're hitting Trump and then quite a bit, and then on actual election night you're saying, "Oh, go out and vote." Well, yeah, you want your people that you've hopefully convinced to vote the way you want them to vote, to all vote as a voting bloc. So it's not too bad, but by itself, but in combination with other things, I'm not a big fan of that type of message from a non-profit organization that's supposed to mainly deal in the law. Like they're mainly not even an executive. They don't even deal with the executive branch that much. It's mainly like the legislative branch and judicial branch, like using the courts to change, interpretations of the law. So I think they fight mainly in the judicial branch. But then we go to the next one, and it's see, FFRF is fighting like hell for your rights. And basically, they explain the repeal, because Trump wants to repeal the Johnson Amendment. And, my understanding of this, it's called it's to prevent, here's where it says it prevents nonprofits from abusing their privilege by electioneering and tax-free institutions with tax-deductible donations. But a lot of this is about funding and directing political messages so that churches don't fund the government, basically. And it's relatively to fight against repealing this, because it would hurt atheists if this got repealed because churches could basically, you know, fund candidates. But right now they can basically fund candidates anyways. That's why it's not as important as they're making it out to be. Like, sure, this would be a further erosion, but individuals can give money to super PACs anyways. So, at least that's my understanding. So it's not really preventing anything. It's it's more of a face, and Trump wanting to get rid of money in politics and doing some of these other things he wants to do, like congressional term limits and stuff. Honestly, that would help atheists quite a bit, getting a lot of these religious people out and the younger, more secular crowd in. And if you change the super PACs, then the churches won't be able, the individuals won't be able to give money to them. So you could close some of these loopholes. But here's the next one. What is this one? Give dollars and cents to counteract pence. And this is they talk about the history a little bit, and they like to do a lot of wordplay, like warned about funneling even 3 pence. They're clever at the Freedom from Religion Foundation. But what I don't like about this is it's very anti-person. It's, the headline is about Pence himself. Donate in Pence's name, It's all about stopping Pence. It's what happened to taking on individual legislation pieces or going to court over them. Like, why are they now attacking a platform? Like, there are good things about Pence too. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Pence myself, as from the atheistic / religious perspective, but I don't want organizations like the Freedom from Religion Foundation, making these broad generalizations about a candidate, taking the candidate on themselves instead of taking on the specific legislation. There's not even here I can point to where any information where they're really talking about, something specific. So it's things like, we're alarmed. Okay, but why don't you wait till he actually does something? Right now it's all, interpretation of what might happen. It's all projection. Wait till something is actually in the works, because you don't have to wait for something to happen either. Like, there'll be plenty of time when it gets proposed and stuff, and then you can see that it goes into Congress, and you can stand up to it. I mean, the Freedom from Religion Foundation, they're basically lobbyists, so then we have this next email, and these are like all emails right in a row. I didn't cherry pick them. This is like, you could see this is basically a full-blown campaign. And this one also, stand against Mike Pence. And actually, this might be is this the same one? Oh no, the other one was give dollars and cents. This one is just stand against Mike Pence. So there's like 3 anti-Trump, anti-Pence emails, and they're really only talking about one thing. The thing's the same, they just changed the headline. So they're really only talking about the Johnson Amendment, and there's so much more that could be talked about. it really seems like they're anti-Republican, and Trump and Pence have the R next to their name, and so they're trying to get the D in. And it's like Hillary, well, I mean, obviously this is after the fact now, but Hillary Clinton wouldn't have been much better. I mean, there's plenty that, and Timken, like, they both pray. Hillary has a long history of religion. She's from the deep south with, being in Arkansas for a time, and she's also from New York, obviously, but um, she's by no means an atheistic candidate or even a pro-atheistic candidate. So I also just wanted to point something else out that's funny, is that Sam Harris said, while the Freedom from Religion Foundation is being so anti-Trump and anti-Pence, Sam Harris, one of the biggest atheists out there, I highly respect him, and he said, the irony, 81% of evangelicals just elected our first atheist president. Now, I'm getting a little annoyed by this because they made the same claims about Obama. Like, some people said he was a Muslim, some people were trying to say he was actually atheist. In reality, I think he actually is Christian. With Trump, I think it's a little less clear, but he's probably Christian. I don't think he's as Christian as he claims, but I don't think he really cares that much, to be honest. He probably doesn't think a whole lot about it, but it's just funny that you're getting this mixed message from the top of the atheist movement. And I would consider the Freedom from Religion Foundation, they are more of the new age atheists, in my opinion, which is the good side of the movement, where it's, the atheism plus is kind of the crappy side. So, I highly respect Sam Harris. I highly respect the Freedom of Religion Foundation, or Freedom from Religion Foundation, but I don't really like this anti-Trump thing, that anti-Pence, anti-person instead of, taking on the actual issues. And also this focus on the Johnson Amendment thing, which hasn't even been a focus of the campaign. It was like one small thing that he said during the primaries. So then, if you want to complain, even if you're religious, but especially if you're atheist, and if you've been a member, but even if you haven't, you go to the FFRF.org, go to About FFRF, and trust me, they actually read I've sent them lots of emails, and they get back to me quite often. So they read, I'm pretty sure, every single email they get. But you can go About FFRF, contact us. It'll load, here's their contact page, and then you just fill it out and say how you heard about it if you want. But you only need the asterisk, so you don't actually need your address or anything. All I ask is you don't troll if you fill this out. Put your honest information. And then, let's see, while I'm here, there is, if you are an atheist and you do run into issues where your rights are being infringed, go to legal and report a state church violation. Even if you're religious, if you see a, problem where the separation of church and state is being violated, it's not uncommon for atheists and religious groups to get together and, fight against these violations, because a secular government actually helps the religious people keep their religion. Christians right now often they don't mind a religious government with Christianity because, that's the one they agree with. But then you start getting into different denominations and you start getting into, well, what happens when the majority changes? And the long-term benefit for everybody on religion is to really protect that separation of church and state. It's really important. So they they don't assist in criminal cases, divorce, custody, or family law, discrimination, harassment by private employers, or private discrimination. But so it's got to be something pretty general. But here's this. You have to fill it out. You can just do email. You don't have to fill out your street address or anything. But they definitely read every single one of these, because I'm not sure if there's one I filled out where they haven't responded. So anyways, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope you give the Freedom from Religion Foundation some contact about their emailing and how they should stop focusing on candidates and start focusing more specifically on issues, and maybe we can get some change done here.